Hello everyone, welcome back to Joy's Creative Finger. This is a Hamptons build. It's a beautiful house that is styled by the kind of properties in that area. This is its look by night, and in the day you get to see these beautiful plants and greenery all situated around it. From the pictures that I saw, most of those builds have the most beautiful tended landscape that you'd ever seen. While some don't really particularly care for that sort of thing, it's my favorite, so I went for that option and try to recreate something like that in this house. So obviously it's a really large mansion and it has its excesses, as you would expect. And for those of you who've been in the game for a while, you would realize that those black framed windows basically mean that there are curtains on them on the inside, and that's why they have that shade to them. Otherwise they would have all been clean clear glass, and that, in my opinion, would have been preferable. And I have a pool out back, which is typical for massive mansions. People like the luxury who live in those kind of homes, and we have a balcony on top and a patio space down below. In case you're wondering where these patio pavings come from, if you complete, I think there's a quest you have to do with Bree, this lady, a construction lady that you see in your park in your town. Once you complete that quest with her, you unlock the DIY mansion, and if you choose to build that mansion, then you can hold on to this paving and recreate a house on top of it. Now I have some exposed brickwork right on the external part of this build, and in a live build I'll be able to explain more how I've done this, but I wanted a different texture to the exterior wallpaper of this mansion, and so in doing this I have these brick parts that are exposed, and then the rest of the build is white, which is beautiful. I've got these French Romance fountains situated at a level above the ground, and I think as a whole it makes the entrance look quite grand. This is the housekeeper of this house. There's a very wealthy family that lives here and a beautiful story to be told, so do stay tuned because I'm going to tell you that story in this tour. But once you come into this massive overhang, you then have the front door, and then you walk into this beautiful, very functional entrance. So not only do we have this beautiful massive staircase, we have this bar in the corner here, and you can imagine that perhaps the owner of this house entertains a number of friends, and this space is quite the place to hang out and interact with one another. So you've got the bar in the corner there for guests to get some drinks, or indeed those of them who just live in the house. And then we have a plant which is beautifully situated there, and a nice piano over here, so they could really get entertained in this space. Over on the right we have this beautiful living room, and I was inspired by the design that I had done in the Hair Today Gone Tomorrow salon that I built recently, by dividing the room and still having open access to the other room behind, which is the office in this case. But of course first we have the living room in this angle over here. I played around with colors, and this is a completely different look for me for interior design that I've done in this game, and I really love it. It's very luxurious. You've got the hints of the chrome around those white decorative pillars alongside the picture back there, and it's coordinating with the frame on the picture as well. The blue ice sculpture has touches of blue that connect with the table. And we have these curtains that I mentioned earlier on when we were touring the outside. So I've chosen to place them this way, as though you pull the curtains over those clear glass windows, but in actual sense it's actually covering just this particular black frame that you see here. So I really love this living room. It's very beautiful. You might recognize this from the Love and Treasure quest that we've just completed, and this is how I chose to place the living room entertainment center here. It's beautiful. I love the idea, and the French furniture really works in the space. The pink cracked floor as well runs right through the ground floor, and this is the office. So a lady lives in this house. She lives here all alone, and as I said, I'm going to tell you a story about her. So this is where she would sit down and do her work, but this is her housekeeper. So this section here is quite different for an office, right? I wanted something different and I was able to achieve that, at least I think so. So that's that entire section over there, and I thought it worked out quite nicely instead of closing off a room and calling it an office, which is fine, but in this case it's totally different. And you can see that from within the living room the large display of glasses show you the outside and the beautiful landscape, so you can see all the green plants outside, and I think that's beautiful. Raquel is the woman of the house here. She is a single mother, and we're going to see her very soon, but I'm going to get her housekeeper to take us through to where she is, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. But before we do, this is the main guest restroom. So you see, we've got that entertaining area in the entrance, and then of course you can just go in here and make use of the restroom, or call it a cloakroom if you want. But it's quite nicely situated to the entrance of the house. The next room beside it is a gym, and it has just the one piece of equipment in there, which is Raquel's favorite. She recently had a baby, and she's using this equipment to get fit and get back in shape. And now we meet Raquel, who sat down to a beautiful meal that has been prepared by her personal chef. Now, this is another idea of placing curtains alongside the window, and this is the Wedding Bells wedding table. This is the square one. So I'm aware that the Wedding Bells live event should be on, or will be coming on in the next few days. So work hard at it, and you'll be able to get this beautiful dining table. I'm not sure if you can actually still eat on the table, the wedding tables that is, because they don't work. You actually have to glitch a table onto it to have a sim actually eat on it. And so I'm wondering whether they would have fixed that. But this is how I've chose to lay out her dining table, and it's quite beautiful and elegant. This is her personal chef who takes care of her as far as food goes, and her little baby. And the room has a combination of the homesteader units in the corner and the snow chalet kitchen units, which I think is quite nice. They work well together. And there's a little bar area up the top. So Raquel's housekeeper and the chef are eyes for her parents. Her parents are very wealthy and very controlling, and they have placed her in this house and have the housekeeper and the chef report back to them on her movements, because they don't approve of the man with whom she had a child, and there are conditions for her living in this house. These set of doors all collapse to either side of the walls and open up to this beautiful back side of the house. You've got a beautiful pool and an area to sit down and dine, which is also connected right to the entertainment area where the staircase is. So anyway, we're going upstairs, and as I was saying, the housekeeper and the chef keep an eye on her, because she has a connection to a young man who she fell in love with in high school, and her parents have basically broken that relationship and kept her in this house. This is the family bathroom up here, where Raquel or the housekeeper would bathe the child, and this is the laundry room, where the housekeeper spends a lot of time keeping things nice, clean and fresh. And then we have this door that lays out to the front part of the house, where we have those exposed bricks that I spoke of. It's very simple to do. I was just playing around with this, and when it worked I was quite happy, because I can now practice around with different colors to create two tones to the exterior of any build. And yes, you're going to see more of that. So when you get back in, you're still on the landing, but on the left hand side, if you come from downstairs that is, you have a guest bedroom. It's nice, it's beautiful, it's blue. And I have a closet space on the side over here for whoever might stay in this house with Raquel, but she's here alone, you know. She is quite lonely, and this is just a massive house that is so filled to the brim with expensive things, a housekeeper, a cook, a driver, a gardener, but she's lonely. She's lonely. This is the landing, and we have a couple of chairs to the left and right of the staircase, and the set of doors out back. We'll see that in a second. And then we have the baby's room on the side here. I thought it was quite nice to keep these fairy lights, in my opinion, but it is the Wedding Bells wedding chandelier. But the thing is, at nighttime it's quite beautiful, because you can see little dots of lights above, you know, the baby's bed, and I think that's quite cute. But the baby is the only thing that keeps Raquel happy in this home. It's the only thing that connects her, you know, to her loved one, Jason, who she hasn't seen in a couple of years since she left high school and was found to be pregnant. You know, the parents moved her away to this part of town and, you know, set her up in this home to be taken care of. They want nothing to do with the boy because he wasn't as rich or of the class, you know, that they would want to associate their family with. And this is wrong. but that's how it goes in the world we're in today. So yeah, her room is right next to the nursery, and it's beautiful. It's pink, it's filled with hearts, and we have this beautiful bed that is my favorite again. And I have these curtains situated here alongside that window, and the side tables are from the Hair Today Gone Tomorrow event, which are very beautifully coordinating with that bed. I think it's beautiful. She has a dresser here, and she has a lovely closet on the side. You can see that they disappear when you're in the opposite view of them. And there they are, standing tall. And she has a beautiful restroom, bathroom to herself. I always say the two things. Restroom, bathroom. So yes, this is basically all that we have on the top floor. And those doors at the back lead out to the seating area that we saw earlier. So this is an overview of the house, but this is the last night that Raquel will spend in this building. And I'll tell you why. Raquel met Jason in high school. They were juniors and they got along so well. Whenever they were together, they couldn't see anyone else in the room. They couldn't see anyone else around and about them. Whenever they got together at school, it was them against the world. And she did get distracted. I mean, her grades began to go down, and her parents were able to tell that she was now involved with a young boy. Now, it didn't really matter to her because, as most teenagers are, she was quite headstrong and she was determined. He was quite nice to her, and they vowed when they were made to split schools that they would remain in love no matter what happened. They had been together, and as it turns out, she was pregnant, and her mother and father were livid. She was way too far along for them to terminate that pregnancy, and so she had to go through with it. And this, in their opinion, was really upsetting. So they argued, even at her bedside when she was due to have a child, before the nurse had to announce to them that it was time to have the baby, which was a high-risk situation for her because she was young. She had gone into labor. Finally, Valerie was born to Raquel and her parents, but of course to Jason. Although he wasn't in the room, unknown to her parents, Raquel had kept in touch with Jason and kept him informed of every step of the way of her pregnancy, and he was aware that she was having a child today. Now, Raquel had had a conversation with her housekeeper, Monica, and given her quite a list of things to do. It was quite unusual, because normally she wasn't really concerned about what Monica did or didn't do. But this time, it appears Raquel had a lot of things to ask Monica to do on this particular day. As soon as Monica got round to her shifts, Raquel went up to her baby's room, took her out and gave her a beautiful bath. After setting the child down, she got herself ready and had packed a suitcase. When Monica had then gone into the laundry room to start her endless chores of ironing all kinds of clothing for the family, Raquel had sneakily taken the suitcase, placed it in the car, come back up, got her baby, and left the house. All the time that she had spent in this house, she was used to their routine. And so this time she was going to make use of it. She played into the routine and left. Far, far away to an island where Jason and her had arranged to meet. Not only did she come to this island to meet with Jason, she had eloped. She was never going to return back home to that mansion or to her parents. Now this was quite extreme. Her parents had dealt with her in an extreme way, and she in return had retaliated in an extreme manner. Jason had been out here for the last 2 years when he left school because they weren't able to pay his school fees. But now that he was in this beautiful island, he found himself a handy job. He is a woodworker, and he built this shack all by himself and has been waiting for when Raquel would make the move to come out here and live with him. Jason had done a good job. He was already in business on this island, and he would build anything and everything for anyone who wanted a job done, and he was getting paid for that. The thing is, Raquel and Jason were in love, and I think that if they had been treated differently or reasoned with, then they might not have had to take this option. But unfortunately, this happens to be the only option that seemed available to Raquel and Jason. It might hurt a lot of people, but certainly since everyone put their feelings first, they put their feelings first too. Will Raquel go back to her parents? Will things get hard for her on the island? Who knows? It's quite hard to say. But I do believe that both parties might have had a better situation to deal with if they had reasoned together a little, met somewhere in the middle. As it turns out, Raquel prefers this low-end beach house filled with love in place of the massive luxurious mansion in the Hamptons. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day. Bye.